Good evening and praise the name of the Lord. What a joy to have you again on the Gorgeous Woman Show. Our duty is just to inspire, to empower, and to make sure that a woman feels, valued, feels like the way God wants you to feel. And as always, I will bring to you a lineup of guests that you'd always love and listen to. And the best thing you can do for another woman is just share this story, share online. We are live on TV and live on our social media platforms. And you can also call the number on your screen, 0728-316 and 317, and share the story with people. And in case you have a story, you can always share with us, and I will be delighted to make you to be a blessing. And remember, we are still having the Gorgeous Woman Dinner that is coming October 10th, if all things go well. And in spite of what is happening in the land, we trust that God will give us the opportunity and the time to do that and gather together as women. And my guest today is none other but Nisi Okoth. A story and a journey of conversion from Islam to Christianity, the isolation, the disowning from the family is quite a moving story. You need to stick there and just watch and listen to what God has done in her life. So my guest, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, your name is Nisi Okoth. Why Nisi?
Interestingly, Nisi is a name that I was given when I was baptized. Mm-hmm. Because my names were, still are anyway, Nasibu, Soti, Imano, which is what my parents called me. But then when I'll tell the story, but when I became a Christian, I was baptized. And I remember somebody mentioning, why not Nisi? And I was like, So I looked at it and it just meant the Lord my banner. And I said, I like it. Great. So Nisi, and then Okoth is my husband, so Nisi Okoth.
Great. So where do you come from originally?
I am a Borana, so we come from Marsabit County. I come from a small village, it's called Sololo. It's almost at the border of Kenya and Ethiopia. So we have family here and we have family on the other side. Yes.
So how was it like growing up in Marsabit? Was it more of a pastoralist community, or is it a community that embraced farming? How was it?
Pastoralist, of course. But then I've only read that in the stories because I was born there, but I grew up in Nairobi. I've lived here all my life.
Great. So where did you go to school?
I went to Moi Air Base Primary School. My dad was in the military. Nairobi, So I am I'm a person that has been raised by the government. I went to government schools. Yes. And then I went to Kaga Girls in Meru. And Kitengela Girls.
Great.
Yes.
That's awesome. So are you married?
I am married to one husband. I have 3 beautiful girls.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Wow, what are their names?
Susan, Gabriela, and Tamara.
How nice.
Yes.
Could you share with us how old they are and what you like, what it feels like to be a mother?
Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to be a mother. So Susan is turning 14 in October.
Wow.
She's in class 8, so next year high school. And then Gabriela has just turned 6, and then Tamara has turned 4. And I love having to raise my girls. Although I wish I had a boy, but I love that I have girls.
You know, at the end of it all, a child is a child.
True.
And if we ourselves as women, I feel like having girls is not adequate, and you feel there's a need to be a boy. Of course, it's human.
Right.
No matter what child God gives you, I think we embrace them.
Well, it's a journey. So, you have a plan when you get married, not to have a boy and a girl and then a boy.
You're still young. You still can go on.
I'm not sure about that prayer.
How beautiful.
Yes.
So I just want to go back to paint the picture how it was growing up as a Borana girl. Because there are not so many Boranas.
No. How many do you know? How many Boranas do you know?
We have a church, we pastor in Isiolo, so I basically have interacted with them. But
I know Isiolo where?
Yeah, Isiolo, just in the town.
So
in Isiolo there are many Boranas.
Very many.
It's very easy to know them. But I'm looking at when you're in Marsabit inside there, and when we hear that, we hear of shifters. We hear of always having clashes with all those kind of bandits and all that. So how did you have an experience of growing up there?
Well, there was shifters those days. The roads were terrible. Right now, by the way, that's the best road in Kenya.
I hear that.
All the way from Nairobi, all the way to Ethiopia. No bumps, nothing. Just really nice marked out roads. But those days, shifters would wait for you on the roads. And I remember because I went maybe once or twice when I was a child with my parents. And it was tough because there are no buses. Because buses can't use those rough roads. So people are on lorries.
wow.
You know how you pack things at the back of a lorry?
Yeah.
So rice would be packed, or sugar, gunias, and then people would sit on them, and then they'd be covered with that canvas.
Yes.
So it was quite the journey.
Adventure.
It would take 3 days.
3 days
to get there.
And you spend on top of those roads?
No. You'd stop like at Isiolo, the first stop, or maybe another town, Leisamis or something. Yeah. Then all the way to Marsabit, and then all the way to Sololo and Moyale.
Oh, nice.
So it was quite the adventure.
Yeah, it was an adventure then, but of course it's never fun. Our viewer, you just hold yourself tight. We are in for a mega story, a story of a lady that is boldly declaring her faith in Jesus Christ, and that is what it's all about. She doesn't look like what she's telling us, but do you know when the grace of God is upon a man, the past is behind them and the new is unfolding. So don't touch that dial. See you after the break. Welcome back, our viewer. As always, we are doing our best to make sure we bring to you stories that will inspire you, empower you, and make you feel that though you're going through a tough moment, tough times don't last. Only people that are determined and resilient will survive the time. My guest is Nisi Okoth, Okoth. I'm trying to be, swagarific with the name Okoth. I know, but her story is about conversion from Islam and becoming a Christian, and the rejection, the isolation, the disowning, the pain, and of course the victories and the joy she has shared. So once again, we are delighted to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so at what point did you have an encounter with Jesus?
So like I said, I was born a Muslim.
Yes.
I was a Muslim for 19 years.
Yes.
I grew up in a normal Muslim family.
Yes.
We'd go to the mosque. We'd look like a Muslim. We'd look the part.
You'd wear the hijab.
We'd wear the
everything.
hijab, yeah. We'd look the part. We'd go, madrasa is what we call it.
Yeah.
In kind of like how you teach Bible.
Yes.
Now madrasa is how you teach the
Quran.
Yeah. Yeah, so I grew up like that, but I grew up in Nairobi, so a bit more liberal than if I had grown up in the village. Yeah. In Marsabit County. And then I just went to high school in Meru. That's the first time I kind of encountered. I didn't even do I didn't know so much about Christianity in primary. So when I went to high school at Kaga Girls in Meru, it was compulsory to go to church. Okay. So we had church every Sunday in the dining hall. And then it was compulsory, so I went because you'd sign the register. Yes. But then I only went to sleep, like I just wanted to feel that part, that I was present. So I'd be asleep, or we'd be writing messages to my friends, just passing notes, trying to disrupt the whole thing. Yeah. So then in my third year, almost the third year, I started to realize, I didn't know what it was, but I just started to realize that every time I came there, I was just calm. There was just a sense of, I was overwhelmed. And I would sometimes just cry. Oh, wow. Yeah, and then I'd leave and I'd forget that experience. But then I finished high school, and now I don't have to go to church. But every Sunday, I just felt like I need to go somewhere. Wow. And it has to be like a church. So at that time, I remember there was a church that had just begun at KICC. They were meeting at a small restaurant. It was called Tintin. I don't know if Tintin is still there. KICC, that's a long time ago. Yeah. And I went there because I fit into I liked that church was orderly. There was, I had seen crusades on TV about what Christians do. And I was like, no, it can't be true. People can't be healed. Yeah. And, this, I don't want this. I want the one that looked like my school, which was order and all sorts of things. Yeah. So I went there, and then when I noticed that people are starting to know me, I went to another church. So now I did this church, and then another church, and then another church. And all this time, were you going to the mosque? Doing your prayers? Yes. It's kind of like I just got used to going to church. Yes. But now I know it's God just was drawing me slowly by slowly. Yes. What is it that you liked about church? The music. I love the music. Yeah. I loved that people were able to sing and dance, which was something that I wanted to do. Yeah. It's like I've always wanted to sing. Yeah. And then I just really enjoyed the atmosphere. There was something about the atmosphere. It wasn't just music, because I could get music if I wanted to go to a club, for example, or I could listen to all sorts of music and be okay. But there was something about a church. So I did that a couple of times. And then this one time, I found a church close to my home at that time, Redeemed Gospel Church, Saints Alive Center. That's the name of the church. And I remember it was close to home, so I didn't have all the time money to go to town. I had just finished high school. So I decided, let me go to this one. And I'd go and sit at the back. I just went to the worship and then I go. I never listened to the preaching about Jesus. I didn't want anything. I just wanted the music. So this one Sunday I went, I just sat at the back of the church. I listened to the music. I can't remember the songs. I can't tell you it was a song. I can't tell you anything, but I didn't go. After the worship, I just sat there and I waited. And I just sat there. It's kind of like I didn't even know what was happening, but I was at peace and I wanted to stay there forever. So now church is over. They're trying to pack up. The chairs are being moved. Ushers are trying to lock up. So this lady notices this young lady seated at the back of the church, not going. And I was fine. I was just seated. So she came up and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Okay, church is over. Can I help you?" I said, "I just want to stay here. There's something about being in church that I feel like this is a safe space for me. And whatever is here," I thought she'd give me like a card or money or something. This is what is here. I said, "Give me what is here. I can go with it so that I don't have to keep coming back." Yeah, I was asking for like what is here so that I don't have to
go.
Then I think she just knew. She said, "Let's go outside." So the pastor had left. There was a youth pastor right now. He's called Pastor Kimuli, and he has a church. He's called Reverend Kimuli, in fact. At that time, he was a youth church pastor at that church. And she said, "This lady wants to give her life to Jesus." And I looked at her. I was like, I didn't say that. But then I didn't even argue. For some reason, I did not argue. I was like, okay. Then he just prayed for me. It was outside the church. People had left. He was even leaving. We had to like rush after him. It was like, wait, so somebody has to. And then I was prayed for. And I just, became a Christian. And I can't tell you the sense of peace that I felt, the sense of joy. I was overwhelmed with, I had never felt so much love in all of my life. So much freedom. I think coming from a place of do not do this. You have to look like this. You have to pray like this. I just really felt a sense of freedom like never before. And I was so overwhelmed. But then now, he had to go and the lady had to go. And now they had to take me through like a discipleship thing. I didn't
was your family aware that you were sneaking into churches?
No, that was my secret. That was my secret. Because I just go to church and then the rest of the week I'd pray the Muslim prayers. Like for me, it wasn't... It
was an adventure for you.
It was just something I loved. I looked at it like, this is something I love. I don't know so much about what is Christianity, who is a Christian. I don't even know so much about Jesus. But one thing I knew is that every time I went to church,
you felt something.
I just felt something. And it was different and it was something that I loved. And then until the day I received and was like, wow, this is what I meant. Now I could carry this thing with me, and that was Jesus. I just didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think we take advantage of the atmosphere that we enjoy and sometimes take it for granted that there's somebody there looking for peace and they can't have it. So at what point did you tell your family that now you've encountered Jesus?
Well, I was afraid, of course, like anybody would be. So then I kept it a secret and I went through the discipleship. Now I learned about, okay, Jesus like this. But again, I say Christianity is like being pregnant. You can't hide it for too long. Or it's like being in love. You love someone, people will see it. Now I was in love with Jesus. There was something about me that had changed and people were seeing it around me. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing some sorts of things I was doing. There was just so much change. So I tried to hide it, but then again, people are like, no, nowadays there's something about you and you're different. So then I hid for as long as I could, but then I got to a place where I was comfortable with, this is my Jesus. I have become a Christian. And this is, you take it or leave it. Like I got to that place. So who was
sustaining and funding your
my dad?
To church?
So church was just next to us.
So
I found a church. Now I didn't have to go to town to Tintin restaurant. I think the church there at that time was Mavuno. I think so. That just began. Yeah. So now I didn't have to go to town, so I could just sneak and go to church and come back. But then you see also people would notice, where do you go on Sundays?
And definitely
what is it you do?
Sunday is not your day
exactly. Like, where are you going? Yeah. So anyway, eventually I had to, my mom used to live in Mombasa. My dad and my mom were not together. So I lived with my dad and my stepmom. So now I decided my mom is the easier target. Like, you know, moms love us the way we are. So I just felt like it was becoming too hard to become a Christian or to live as a Christian. So I had finished high school. I said, let me go to my mom's and study, do computer, whatever. So I went there. But before I went, every time, you know, I'd just, you know, when you're a Christian, things would happen. You'd find yourself saying something. People usually live a certain way. Yeah. Especially if you're a certain religion. Yes. But then it's kind of like I was defiant now, and it would be seen. I'd be like, you're not acting like a...
Oh yeah, yeah.
What did you say? Oh. Yeah, like I'd say some things. I'm like, wow, that's Christian. That's not. Yeah. So now it was so hard for me to even hide it. Yeah. I kind of packed my bags and I went. And I remember I only shared at first with my mom, because my mom is still one of those people that receives you so you can tell her anything. And then now, of course, when I shared, and my mom also had a husband who is a Muslim. Also now, again, there's a bit of conflict there. Yes. And now I live with them. But then I remember when people back at home now, because I had kind of moved, and Mombasa was a place, you know, Mombasa is full of Muslims.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and they're wonderful people. So that was a bit easier, even for now. My mom had lived in that culture. She's still a Muslim at that time. My stepdad and my dad and his wife. So when they had that, you know, nowadays people who go to church, and I had people who are calling me. We had, so if you die today, where are we going to bury you? Like you have to, like I had to be pushed to that place where.
You're desperate.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you know, if they just asked me on top, I'd just be afraid to say. But then they'd come and be like, so tell us, if you died today, where are we going to bury you? Are you a Christian or a Muslim? And I had to say, I'm a Christian. And because of that, I have people, until today, it's not something, like, again, like I said, it doesn't end. I still have people who, where I come from, my community, people have changed over the years. But at that time, for you to be a Christian is such a shameful thing. Shameful thing. Like, you have embarrassed us as a family. You have ashamed us. We have a name. We are people who are known for this. So then I had so much of that. I remember even when I met my husband and I wanted to marry him, there are people who did not come to my wedding, you know.
Let's go back a little bit. So now your father is aware.
I've run away.
Okay. That you've run away.
Yes.
And he's aware now that you've converted to Christianity.
Yes. Now those are like rumors. He hasn't confirmed. Like.
So what was his reaction? Because that is very crucial.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So now the thing is, we have such a big family. Yes. It's not just my father. Even his brother is my father. That we don't call uncles in my community. Oh. If my dad has children, they're our sisters and brothers. So, and we live together. Oh yeah. So this is a whole complete family.
An extended family that you actually have social ties.
Exactly. Wow. So this is not just representing him. This is representing every other person that lives in my house. Yes. The way we used to live like that. So this is somebody, you have raised a child, kind of like if you're a Christian, and you raised a child all the years of their life in Bible, in Christianity, and in church, and then you hear that despite your teaching and despite how you raised them, they became something else. So I was completely expecting that people would kill me, I would be chased after and things.
Were those the consequences that you are already aware of?
I was.
If you converted?
Yes.
And they did not stop you?
No. I don't think it's one of those things. I tell people I did not plan to become a Christian.
Yes.
If you had asked me 5 years, 2 years before that, told me I'd be a Christian, I'd be like, what? Me? How? I would never have listened to a preaching. Yes. I would never have sat down to listen to someone telling me Jesus is God. Like, I'd be like, how? Yeah. So that was not in my plan. And because of that, I knew and I was prepared for the consequences.
So what was your father's reaction? What did he say? Now, like your biological father.
So now this is the flip side. Yeah. My dad had been a Muslim for 40 years of his life. He had built mosques. He had supported everybody that wanted to do something that was Islam. Like I told you, he was in the military. So he has traveled everywhere. So this one time, the same time I was getting saved, my dad went somewhere in West Africa. and he got saved and he got baptized. But he was also quiet.
Hey, how beautiful.
Yes. So he was also quiet with his testimony. He also was hiding. I was hiding. I had run away. So he was hiding also, I think, because now I told you we have a big family. And then for him, he's 40 years. He has a reputation. He has a whole life he has lived. So that is his story. Other people now, the good thing is now the attack was on him a lot more than it was on me because he came out fast. I ran away from him thinking that he was going to be there. And my dad is tough. I think he could have killed me if he was still a Muslim. You know. So when I ran away, God had been working on his heart and he already was a Christian and was hiding it. So we were all going through motions differently at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
How nice.
But then, like I told you, there was so many other people inside of our lives that, you know, would call and say, you're no longer part of our family. We do not recognize you. Anything happens to you, just go back to your church people and your Jesus, you know. We had so much of that. Until today, it's not just something, my dad still gets that, I still get that. People, when we go to, for example, like I said, when I took my husband the first time home, they put us out. We were not able to sleep with every other person because we are Christians.
Just hold that thought and we'll come back after the break. My goodness, the goodness of God is evident in her life. Imagine your dad getting born again and also undercover. I think that is what changes the story and makes it sweeter. But before we listen to the rest of the story, kindly share with your friends and family. Let them know the Gorgeous Woman Show is on. And you can also communicate with us on 0728316317 and all our social media platforms. See you after the break. You're welcome, our viewer. What a great evening that we are having a time to share and inspire one another. And once again, my guest is Nisi Okoth, a wonderful story of conversion from Islam to Christianity. And what a joy to hear what the Lord has done in her life. Wow, great. I can't wait to hear the rest of the story about now when it came to your time to get married.
Yes.
But before we even get there, I'm trying to look at now because you're still finding your focus in life. You want to know where the career, you're establishing everything. So was there a community of family surrounding you, or were you left to look after yourself?
Well, God gave me so many mothers and fathers in the church, because at that time I didn't know that my dad now had become a Christian, and he wasn't ready to share also. So all of us were running away from each other to try and be confident enough or bold enough to share. So when I went to Mombasa, I joined this church, JCC. Can I say churches here?
No problem. Why not?
Okay.
We are a Christian
I know there are places you can say the name of the church. Pastor Mulao. And then I just, started, but before I left just to go back, that church that I had gotten saved at and I was baptized and I went through discipleship, I started as an usher. Now I'm also trying to find a community around myself. So like I said, God gave me mothers and so many fathers in the church at that time, in that period of time, which was like a year, a whole year. I just sat and became an usher. And then after that, one day I used to go for lunch hours and evenings. Ushers are there all the time.
Yeah.
We appreciate ushers. They're there all the time.
Wonderful
Every
people.
service,
they're
there. So I went for lunch hour and there was nobody. Like the choir was late, but there was the keyboard guy. And now I had been in church a year, so I went to him and I said, everyone is here, just the worshipers are late. And then he said, I said, I can sing. I used to sing in school, just love songs. So now I know church songs. If you can write me a list, I'll try.
Yeah.
So me and him, it was bad, I promise. It was not good at all, but at least we did the part. And the choir master was passing outside. We used to call him Mwalimu Bruno. And he had, if you're the choir master, it's Sauti ya Ruth wa Moyo. Everybody's voice. So it's like, who is that? I don't know this one. And then he came. Of course, somebody saved me because I sang like 2 songs and then the choir was there. Everybody had come. After that, he came to me and he said, you're not going to be an usher anymore. We want you on the choir and the worship team. So now I found another community, apart from mothers and fathers that God had given me, deacons and all sorts of people. Now I had another family that was going to nurture what God had put in me. And like I said, I used to sing. I was the kind of person who friends would be like, did you hear that new song? Can you sing for us? In high school.
How in high school?
Hey, like sasa watu wakiboeka, like, do you know that song? It's new. Can you sing for us? I'd be the one singing the song.
And what of like economically, who was empowering you, knowing that now your family didn't want to identify with you?
Yes.
Did your mother walk with you through the journey, and what career did you train in?
Oh, at that, now when I went to Mombasa, of course I was very young, just finished high school. I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. But then my dad had been the person that was paying everything for me. And I am blessed because I come from a family that I'd never had to struggle for anything. So now I went to my mom's and she was telling me, by the way, if you tell them you are not going to go to university, nobody will take you to school. So you see, my being a Christian and sharing it would mean I have no future in that sense.
I know.
In that sense. Yeah. So, but then I went through small colleges and things. Eventually I did psychology and I did transformational church leadership at Park University and at Daystar communication. Just the small steps, but that's like years later. Years later. At that time I just was going through the colleges and doing so I'm a trained counselor. I have done that course for Bible and theology and communication, which is something I'm almost finishing at Daystar.
Great.
Yes.
So now take us now to the real deal.
Yes.
Where now you've fallen in love.
So
was it in church or outside church?
Where I had the church that I had started being a Christian at, which is Saints Alive. My husband was he was in the leadership for the youth, but he was also my neighbor. Like, we lived downstairs, they lived up on the first floor. So he had always seen me growing up and just being a Muslim.
I know.
And I was not his type because I was a Muslim. He was born again and saved and serving. I was a Muslim and living my life. So we just each other hi and that's over. But then God knows how to organize. Because when I became a Christian, he was not there, he left. He had gone to Mombasa.
Wow.
He had joined the Navy. So he went to Mombasa. So when I went to Mombasa, I remembered, oh, there's a friend of mine who used to be my neighbor. And now he's in Mombasa. Let me look for him. So I look for him on Facebook. In fact, I say, hi, I'm in Mombasa. I'm a Christian. I think that's what made him like think about me. So we met, and then now, you know, just I wasn't even looking for a relationship. He wasn't looking. I don't think he was my type or I was his, because I am so outspoken and he is so gentle and so humble and so whatever. But then, like I said, God knows how to plan all these things. So when we met, and now we didn't even know, like, friends a lot. People are like, are you sure you guys are friends? Because we hang out almost every day, come to my house. And Mombasa people, we'd cook. And my mom was like, I like that guy. He has a good heart.
Wow, thank God for a good mother.
Right? Yeah. So then the thing is, even my mom, when I had become a Christian, she used to, I was watching a lot of Christian TV, and one day she said, the thing about Christians is they take somebody who is whole, like somebody who can hear. Then they tell you, this person could not hear, and today he can hear. Or they take someone who was not blind, and then they take him to church and put the cameras on, and then they'd say, this person could not see, but now he can see. So I said, Mom,
fake miracles,
I said, Mom, what would it take for you to believe? It wasn't a serious conversation. We were just talking. And then she said, if you gave me a chance to go to, I know someone who was born blind or lame or deaf, and I bring them to your church, to your Jesus, to your God, and God heals them, or Jesus, wherever heals them, then I would believe. It was a very simple conversation and we forgot about it. But God is constantly at work. And if you're truly, genuinely seeking for the truth, I think that God would reach to you at some point. So fast forward a couple of years, like 2 years after that, my mom becomes so sick. So sick. We bring her to Kenyatta because now we lived in Mombasa and we'd gone through all these things. And it was about her uterus. She had, her uterus was, they said, low-lying, and it kept going down and down. It was like detaching. And they said she had so many things, fibroids and all sorts of things. So we brought her to Kenyatta. And I remember, because I had to work, my husband and I, at that time we had gotten married. I have skipped all the way to the front of the story. But now we had gotten married, and my husband had been a Christian a long time. So we said, let's fast and pray and just believe God that he is going to be able to heal her. And we just fasted 5 days, Monday to Friday. After work, we just hold hands and pray together. And then on Friday night, that's now she was supposed to go for they were supposed to completely remove
the womb.
Because they said they had done so many tests and we were waiting for all that to come together. But as we knew, that we can pray. We had forgotten the conversation that my mom and I had had years before. And so we prayed and we fasted. And then on Friday night, I hadn't preached to her, I hadn't said anything. I just lived with her, just lived in her house all those that time, 2 years. And she had just seen how I lived my life. I think that's the only Jesus she had seen. You can imagine. So Friday night she calls me, and I'm in Mombasa, and she says my mom had never read the Bible. In fact, she went to school to a certain level, so she's not like you can say somebody who reads or who listens to the Bible. She said exactly what was in the Bible. That's how I knew that God had worked in her heart. She called me and she said that night she had felt something so much that she kind of felt like she was going to die. But then she just called me and she said, but I feel that I have a need and a desire for that God that you know. She said, from today, I didn't preach to her, by the way. She said, from today, your God is my God. That's in the Bible. Yeah. And she said, those people that I see you call them my people, those are going to be my people. I have followed you. She said, I have followed you. My mother. I wish she was here to share her story. I was so overwhelmed, as you can imagine. I booked a ticket for her. She came, she got to Mombasa on Saturday. That was Friday night, she called me. Sunday, I took her to Pastor Lai's church, which was what the church I had been going to. And it's the church that I knew should be comfortable because it was a Swahili, they have a Swahili service. You know, and at that time I had married my husband, so we were going to Mombasa Pentecostal Church. I was a worship leader there. We were doing Bible study and all sorts of things. But I took her there because I knew here she'd be fed, she'd hear the word. We didn't tell the pastor. Anthony Musembi is a friend of ours. He was the one preaching that day. We didn't tell anyone about her sickness. I just told her, Mom, the way you said, our God knows what we need. We are not going to tell anyone. We'll just go to church and we'll believe God for you. We went to church, we sat. I used to sit at the front because that's like a community of people I had known that had supported my journey. And Pastor Musembi preached. He didn't preach on healing. He did not preach on healing. He just preached. And then at the end, the service is over. I'm like, oh my God, God, you're embarrassing me. My mom is sick. Nobody shared about healing. What is happening? He just says, before we say the grace, there's a lady here. And he says exactly what my mom was going through.
Wow.
Imagine. He says exactly. And my mom says she felt fire and she felt warmth.
She's not even born again yet.
Yeah, she just told me on the phone, I followed you. Your God is my God. I think that was her conversion prayer. Yeah. He just said that, and Pastor Musembi is a good friend. We told him that years later, that story. You know, she was completely healed.
No hands were laid on her.
Nobody touched her. Nobody shared about preaching. I tell you, there's something in that atmosphere of church and the power of God moving that everything is possible.
Amen.
And she was completely healed. And it wasn't just that. She had her knees were painful. She was addicted to tobacco. You know, people, older people, they like to chew. Chew. That also went that same day. Everything that she felt, she just told me she felt brand new. She felt brand new. Yes.
I can imagine when she was leaving church.
Oh my God. And
a brand new woman.
And me, you know me, one of my prayers when I became a Christian was like, Aki God, give me my mom back from the dead. Because I knew that now, without Christ, we are just dead. And that was like the most beautiful thing for me to see and experience. And then later I realized, okay, my dad also has become a Christian. And every one of us, every single one of us in our family has their own unique story of how Jesus himself just reached out to them.
Amen.
No preaching. Nobody said, come, I tell you about Jesus. So I think that's like an encouragement for some of those people who you feel like I can't preach to. God himself can reach them.
But the good thing is that in all that, prayer, I think is critical.
Yes.
Because I believe when there's an intercessor in a home, it makes everything easier. So are there more conversions in your family?
My sister is 23 this year. She's a Christian. My other sister, who is like my mom's last born, is also a Christian. But my brothers, the one who is before me and the one who follows me, they are still Muslims. But now they're a bit more open-minded to Christianity.
Yes.
Like they would not kill you if you're a Christian. Now they understand, like, this is our sister.
Yes.
You know, having Jesus has made her a better person. Like, there were things that I was so selfish, I would never share with you a cup of tea. And now they realize, oh my gosh, she's so generous. She cares about people. So they even embrace it. And then when they come to my house, I'll just be, I won't say Jesus, but I'll pray for you. Is it okay? They're like, yeah, sis, pray.
Nice.
Yeah, now they're a bit more open. And I know, I believe it with all my heart that God is able to touch them.
So when you're getting married, and I believe Okol's family, they're Christian.
Yes.
Did you have a challenge coming together as families because you have this background and his background is different?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my husband's family is like, they only have like 2 people who are not saved, so they're Christians.
Oh yes.
They're born again. I think they're open.
Yeah.
They love people. I think having Jesus makes you more open to loving other people.
It's true.
Yeah, but now I had a whole baggage of a whole community.
I can imagine even the very introduction.
Like how they come
you
to church.
isolated.
Yeah. How would they even come to church?
Yeah.
And I can say this because my dad is cool. Now he's okay with it. But my dad did not want me to get married to my husband. It was a whole fight. Like he said, no, you're too young, number 1. Number 2, you don't know anything about love. Just go and meet other people. If you still love the same person, they came for introduction, his whole family, he rejected them. He listened to them, but he did not take anything that they gave him or brought. And he just later called me and said, I do not want, and I'm your dad, and I don't want. And it was a tricky situation because now we are both Christians. I thought we would understand each other. So then I told our youth pastor, he said, are you willing to wait? My husband said, of course, I will wait. And I said, yes. So we waited. He said, after 2 years, if you still have the same person, I would allow you to marry him. But I came back after 2 years. He said no.
After 2 years?
Yes, after we had waited.
Oh my.
So we went back to our youth pastor.
Our Christian father.
Now he's a cool guy. Hi, Dad. He's a cool guy. But he said no. And then we went to our youth pastor. He said, you guys, we see no reason not to put you together. Yeah, he doesn't have valid reasons according to the Bible to say no. Yeah. You can't refuse someone based on their background or how rich or how poor they are, or what tribe they come from, or your ideas of how you want your children to marry. So then, as we decided, we'll send him a card he said it'd come with a court order to stop the wedding. It was so chaotic. In fact, I only had my mom at my wedding who gave me away, and my sister and my brother. Nobody else came to my wedding because the rest said she's a Christian anyway.
And after all, if your father is not for it, then they will not have the moral authority to come.
Nobody came to my wedding. Just my friends at church. The church was full. But I mean, like for me, I could not see the church full. I was seeing nobody because I wanted my family,
your people to be
there. But God is so gracious because even, it was such a joyous day for me, having to now, I have become a Christian. I've found a really nice guy. And now I'm doing it the right way anyway.
Yes.
But I would have loved to have like my dad there, every other person.
Yeah, you would have loved to have this.
Yeah, but again, that's what I call my persecution. Is there things I can't have because I'm a Christian?
And it is okay.
There are relationships that I can't have because I'm a Christian. That's my persecution. And I'm okay with it. Yeah. I'm okay with it. But God is good. Even that weekend, my wedding was in the standard. I was like, oh yes, thank you God. I didn't know. etc. So God tries to show us that, I'm still looking at you. Wow. And even though you felt like there was nobody there, there was people.
Amen.
And he just tries to make it special, I think.
Amen. Wow. Your story is just phenomenal. And our viewer, just hold on a minute as we hear the rest of the story. Always a joy to have you on board. And don't stop communicating with us. See you after the break. Welcome back, our viewer. As we come to the last segment of this program, the Gorgeous Woman Show, what a joy to share it with you. Continue sharing with your friends and family, and let us share about this wonderful testimony of Nisi Okoth, Mrs. Wow, great. So your wedding was even on the standard.
It was beautiful. Oh my gosh.
It was beautiful.
Yes, I bless the Lord.
What is it about Mr. Okoth that really made you fight for him? Because there could be ladies there, everybody has said no, right? What really grounded you that you said, I'm willing to take a risk?
I think, I don't know. I just really, it's somebody I knew already. He knows my history. I have been a Muslim. We were neighbors. And then how I knew that it was him is, I just prayed. I just said, God, I don't know anything about Christians. I don't know how people date. I don't know how people get married. And I don't want to waste my time. I just knew. This is like a really funny story, and every time my husband says, but you always wanted a pastor, that's the thing. Me, I thought a pastor, it wasn't like I wanted a pastor, the name. I thought that now marrying a pastor would be someone who knows the Lord, who can help me learn about Jesus. So I said, God, you just give me then, a pastor. And that's, what I prayed for. So every time I say that, my husband's like, yeah, you've been praying for a pastor, but here I am. And so I just like that one of the things I like about him is he helps me to grow so much in Christ. Like he's very stable. He had been a Christian, he'd been a Christian since high school.
Yes.
Although he says at some point he fell off the wagon and went back.
Yeah.
But he knew about Jesus.
Yes.
He had been through the motions of ups and downs of
Yes.
Christianity. He's stable.
Wow.
And me, I'm a woman and I'm emotional. Today I feel like this, tomorrow I feel like this.
Yes.
So I needed a stable man to give me stability.
And it's always good to have an introvert and an extrovert
Right.
come together.
Right.
Great.
But I love that he's, you can tell as soon as you meet him, nobody has to tell you. He has a heart for Jesus. He has an intimate relationship
Amen.
with Christ. And for me, that was the most important thing at that point.
Amen.
Because I didn't know anything about Christianity. And I said, God, I don't want to waste time. Just give me that man. And I remember I had been, that church, Saints Alive, I used to go to church. Kesha's a Friday. I used to be in church every single night. And I had a comfortable bed every single night until the watchman used to know me. I was like, now Jesus, okay, I don't know. How am I going to do life? What am I going to do? I was there every single day. And I remember one day, the morning glory people come at 4 or something. They found me there. And, this lady said, I hear you pray. And I tell God, whatever this young lady is praying for, give her.
Yeah.
She's sleeping here. She'll be sick. And I was fine. I wasn't really praying for a specific thing.
Yes.
For me, I think it was just hanging out with Christ.
Yeah.
Just in that atmosphere. And it was the most beautiful thing.
Wow.
It was the most beautiful thing.
What a beautiful
So there, the short story is, Pastor Muli, now he's a pastor at AIC Dandora. That morning, he said, Nisi, see me after the service. I have something to tell you. So I go and see him. And then the short of it is he tells me, I had a dream and I saw your wedding. And this is something God had already told me, like, okay, this is the guy. I knew my husband was going to be, but I didn't tell him. I didn't want to influence his decision. So Pastor Muli says, I had a dream, I saw your wedding. And I don't know, I didn't see the face, but that person works the same job that your dad is in. So it's the military.
Wow.
And my husband at that time was in the Navy. Right now he's not. Right now he works somewhere else. But at that time he was in the Navy. It's all the confirmation I needed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I was okay with it.
So what are the highlights that you've had after receiving Christ?
One of the things is I found my purpose, which is the music ministry that I do. Now that I had become an usher and a singer,
yes,
God started to give me songs.
Wow.
And I started to write them and I started to sing them. And now that's kind of like everything I do is centered around Jesus. The reason I work where I work is because I'm a Christian and I love the Lord.
Amen.
And I have a relationship with him.
Yes.
The reason I married a wonderful man is because of Jesus.
Amen.
Like for me, literally everything about my life is because of Jesus.
Glory to God.
Yes.
I love the way you call that name. And it's a powerful name. So what is the first song that you wrote?
I wrote Nakutegemea. It was the first one. But I had been doing backup music for people in Mombasa, just singing and being paid for doing backup vocals.
So you've done songs.
I know some of those but
I know.
yeah. But for the money, like someone do an album, of course, Christian
I get
music.
you, and it's actually the BGVs, the background vocalists, they get a lot of experience in singing as you do that. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually a good thing.
Yes.
Because there are people who can sing and they can't do the background vocals. So so you did it for a while.
I did it for a while. And then I realized, when I'm praying, sometimes when I'm praying in tongues, I just feel a melody and I'm like, okay, this sounds so nice. Let me record it. And then I'd think about, like, it would be a season and God would tell me, no, this is what you should sing about. Then I wrote that song, Nakutegemea, and it was my first song.
Yeah.
And that was just like
Could you
the
sing
song.
a little bit for us?
Nakutegemea Bwana kama ayala takavyo maji, Bwana nafsi yangu ya kutamani, Baba kama ayala takavyo maji, Bwana nafsi yangu ya kutamani, Baba. So this song I wrote, it just says,
and you're just dropping it like that.
And I'm moving on.
I'm saying, and that's a beautiful voice and of course a beautiful song. Great. Yes, now sema sasa.
Okay. So hiyo nyimbo niliandika too because I had done background music a long time. I was a worship leader everywhere I went. Mombasa Pentecostal Church. I do worship even today at Daystar University. I lead worship everywhere. And I was like, okay, so now is this really God? What is it about my life? Like, I'm not sure. I did community development. I was like, no, I don't like it. So I did, like, I kept changing careers. I was like, okay, I think I need to know what my my purposes in life. That way I can be able to zero in or narrow into what I need to be doing. So like you see, when God told me that it was music and he gave me that song, I told him, okay, if this is your will, I wasn't sure. I didn't know how to be sure. I said, then you just show me. So I wrote the song, and the lyrics just says, a horse is prepared for battle, but victory belongs to God.
Wow.
It is not by might nor by power, but it is by your spirit. Like it is only by if God leads us that we are able to do anything.
Sure.
And you know, I just did that song. That's the song that gave me the jobs that I have now. Wow. God just really he just confirmed that, yeah, I want you in the music ministry. Do it at church, but you can also write songs that reach other people. Beautiful. And now I have written so many songs.
Well, how many do you have in total?
Right now on YouTube I have like 7 or 8. 7. But I've written so many. The ones I've written and I have
to be recorded.
Exactly.
Great.
Some I've even recorded audios. I mean.
So is your stage name Nisi Okoth?
Nisi Okoth is my name for YouTube, you know, music, and everywhere, anywhere on social media. Okay. That's what I do. I share the gospel. If you look at my profile, it's always about Jesus.
Amen. Jesus. I love the way you're calling that name. Jesus, it's a beautiful name. Wow. Kindly look into that camera and just speak to somebody that probably is where you are. They're having a contention about their faith, their conviction, and they're almost giving up. Just encourage them.
I'm reminded of a scripture. I'm trying to find the book, but this is what it says in paraphrase. Anything that we live for the sake of God, a father, a mother, brother, sister, God will give it back to us in this life, not in another one, in this life, and even in the next. So really, I understand how it feels to be rejected, maybe not just for your faith, for a decision to stick with Christ, not to do some things, just for having a sense of direction and values based on your Christianity. I can understand that. But I want to encourage you that as tough as that road may look, at the end of it, God says, I will give you back all these things, brother, mother, father, sister, in this life and even in the one to come. So just share your faith. Don't be afraid. Hang in there. God is faithful. At the appointed time of life, it is going to be okay.
Amen. Powerful. My viewer, what a wonderful story from Nisi Okoth. And as you've heard, she's a wonderful worship leader and a songwriter. So kindly, I'll request that we listen to that song, and after that, we are going to say goodbye. God bless you. Thank you for keeping it at CTN TV. We look forward to hearing from you. It's me, Reverend Ruth Wamoyo. See you next time. God bless you.
Chochote